So you have your network of PCs in the 1990s, expensive aging machines making up your corporate network or your local library or even a school or university. But your users are demanding access to libraries of data on these newfangled CD things. They seem like magic, holding over 600 meg of data when the hard drives in your PCs are barely 100 meg. Wouldn't it be awesome to let people access the wealth of data on these disks? But no way can you afford to kit out all of your machines with CD drives. Maybe you'd even need an external drive and associated interfaces, which would be even more expensive. So what do? You could have one PC with a CD drive and try and share that out, but people will be fighting over which disk they're using. One will want Encarta, the next will be looking for specialised research material, and the third will be trying to play some games. Enter the CD Jukebox. In the 90s, this is how network managers shared gigabytes of data on CD. Suddenly the floppy disk is no longer up to the task. Meet the Pioneer DRM-6NX, a mechanical archive from the dawn of the information age. 6 CDs can be inserted at once. In corporate networks and research institutions, jukeboxes like this were the backbone of data sharing. A law firm might host legal databases. A library could share dozens of reference titles, each one on its own CD-ROM. Getting this running was not plug and play. It mounts CDs and makes them available over the network. This is an Ethernet network in this case. And then on top of that would be either a Microsoft network for DOS or Windows, Novell NetWare, or NFS. And this particular model jukebox has an ace up its sleeve that I'll get back to later on in the video. So let's plug this in, plug it into your Ethernet LAN with DHCP running, and it will pick up an IP address that you can then use to access the management interface. You'll need to find the IP address from your network, firewall or router, wherever's easiest for you. Then enter it in a browser, and there you go. You can see this interface shows you I've got 2 CDs mounted, and I can see the contents of those CDs. Then there's the admin interface. It will ask you for a password, which is just pass. You look at the PDF menu, it tells you what it is. You can see here there's the hardware, there's a Pioneer CD-ROM that's actually inside it. You can see I've got the 2 CDs here, and other settings I've got around. If I go to the network settings, you can see I've got the web interface, SMB, Windows, but I do not have NetWare or NFS enabled. Clicking these buttons does bring up a pop-up. Let me just switch to that pop-up, detailed view. There we go, so you can see your network settings here, your IP settings, and the other tabs along. Web interface, Windows, you can set the name and work group, whether it uses NetBEUI, and the other settings I will have disabled. So we've got NetWare, and I've got that's not enabled, NFS, not enabled. You can set up email, not sure what that's for, I think alerts, and SNMP for monitoring. It's going back to the main interface, and there's a few other options here, nothing particularly interesting, some stats of who's connected, uptime, server load, things like that. But what is this mention of cache and hard drive everywhere? Well, this was the interesting thing I mentioned earlier. So it has a cache ability. It's currently, you can see there, set to partial. And what this does is it will cache basically the directory structure of the disk and up to how much memory you set there, which is currently set to 200 meg. Or you can mirror, which will cache the entire disk to the hard drive. And also you can tick this box here, which will mirror the whole disk to the archive manually. You see I've got an 8 gigabyte disk in this machine. So how does this device work in practice? Well, once you get your DOS networking set up, and that can be a topic for another day, you simply start your networking, and then if you're lucky NetView works, but it hasn't worked here, but that's fine. Sometimes it just takes a moment. No, okay, well let's just go straight to the device. So this is the Pioneer 390112E, which is the server name I saw earlier in the web interface, and I can see that I've got the two shares, CD and Carter. So, same as you do even on a modern Windows 11 machine today. Net use, drive letter, and the path. Type that in. There it goes, and I can see the contents of the D drive. Let's just jump into Windows. This machine is an IBM PS2 model 70. It's a 386DX, 20 megahertz with I think 6 meg RAM, 80 meg hard drive. So it's pretty low end, but it's not a machine that would have a CD drive unless you had an external SCSI one. But you can see there, a D drive is there, and let's kick off in Carter. Now this takes a while. But it gets there in the end. And there we go, the opening screen of Encarta. This is Encarta 93, the first version from Microsoft. So let's actually dive in and see how quick it is in actually accessing any information. We look at some text, we can look at some pictures, look at some animations. So yes, it's accessed over the network. It's a 10 meg Ethernet in this machine. And the CD drive is actually a 24 speed, I think it is. But there we go, so we jumped into Encarta, so let's just search for something. As this machine's an IBM, let's search for IBM. And nearly as quick as Google. There we go, or Wikipedia I should say. There's the, this is just text, there's no imagery here for IBM. And then of course there's multimedia, so you can go to a gallery browser and eventually things happen. So there you go. So let's just choose something here. Set 2001: A Space Odyssey. Chug chug chug. And there's an image. Jumping between images takes a few moments. Oh, this machine is also running VGA 640 by 480. It might only be 16 colours actually as well, which is why it's all dithered. But you can open up these images full screen, which takes a while. As you can see, you'll get there, just wait. And there we go, high quality photo. So let's go and look for something else. You can see jumping between these takes ages, even though these images must be only a couple of K in size. Well, you can search the gallery for things in particular, categories of things. Let's look for an animation. It's not quite going to be a 4K 60 frames a second. Let's see what it does. Let's look at some bacteria. Click in there, brings it up to view the video. Oh, it may well be the first time I've run a video in this machine. So, video for Windows or something, profiling. After a few moments, there we go, dividing bacteria. So there's one frame. And another frame. So it's not frames per second here, it's 5 seconds per frame. Yeah, this machine might not be the best advert of multimedia, but would have still blown my mind. So let's come out of this, let's get all the way out of Windows and look at something that may be a bit more suited to this hardware. There we go, out. Let's just try NetView again. No, it's still not working. Anyway, let's I can see the other disk there, so let's remap. So delete my D drive, map the D drive again to this other CD with its hex name. This is another Microsoft product. Oh, it's not installed. Okay. I've got what, nearly 7 meg disk space, that's fine. Let's do run the setup, and it freezes because it's on a different disk. So where I showed earlier, it caches the directory structure, so I could view that, but to actually access the data it needs to swap the disk out now. Drive, so it takes a few seconds, and there we go. Let's just go through setup, next, hard drive, new directory, away you go. Don't touch my config sys, thank you. And these files will copy over. Yes, so that hints at this machine actually only has one CD drive in it. It just switches between disks, which is why when you want to use this, really you want to cache or mirror the entire disk, because then it's on the hard drive and it doesn't need to switch disks, it's always available. So here we go, Microsoft Bookshelf. Anyway, this has got a couple of dictionaries, a thesaurus, encyclopedia, almanac, and a couple of good quotes. This suits this hardware much better. So you can just do a quick search here in the encyclopedia, CD-ROM as well on a CD, and bang. Obviously it's text only, there's no images here, but yeah, this is lightning quick. I remember using this at a library once when I was a kid, and yeah, so as I did bacteria video, so I could have a look at bacteria in text. Yeah, it's almost like a Wikipedia in DOS almost, isn't it? So there we go, that is the Microsoft Library, which is a DOS interface to CD-ROMs. This also works on a 286 I've got here, this IBM PS1, it works perfectly on there as well. So let's have a look around the back of this. So we've got some dip switches here that stop you doing things like ejecting if you don't want people stealing the CDs. It's got the Ethernet I saw earlier, it's got a fan, SCSI terminator block, and that's where the power comes in. This SCSI terminator is actually to expand, so you can add another one of these to get another cartridge basically. Nothing around the sides. Around the front, so this is the actual cassette magazine thing. That's where it goes in there. LEDs, or earlier eject and power. This little cassette here, it looks identical to me to what you'd have in your car back in the day. So the CDs just slide out in these trays. As said a few times, I hold 6, and yeah, so let's have a look inside. The top just slides off, I think. Yep. Yeah, just see a bit better up there. Right, so that comes off, and oh wow, that's not what I expected. Look at that at the bottom there. Yes, it's a lot more complex than I expected. Let's get you a bit closer. So we have handy cam here. So this is the logic board on top. It looks like some memory modules there front there. Looks like some other RAM already on board there. What is that? It's a Feast FDS MSC chip. There is actually the Ethernet adapter, and that Axis chip must be the main brains. There's the power supply. I'm not going to go digging too far into this machine. There's the hard drive and some sort of little daughter board attached to the back of that drive. Slightly odd, I'm not sure what that's doing, but yeah, there it is, a standard 3.5-inch drive. And this just blows my mind. Look at this. Massive complexity. Big circuit board on top there. That circuit board goes half the length of the whole machine. I really thought that inside there'll just be a standard 5.25-inch style CD-ROM drive. Yeah, I just thought there'll be a standard Pioneer Jukebox 5.25-inch SCSI CD drive. Oh, it's an IBM hard drive. Yeah, 8.4 gig, just see that there. Yeah, so you see LEDs are actually on the board there. And yeah, more complexity this side. So there you have it. There's a overview of what's inside this machine. It's of its time, I guess, but I thought it'd be simpler than this, but it's pretty complex, and I'm not going to go any deeper inside. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.